With this session update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. Coming up next is a media availability with the Capitol Press Corps and Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka. The legislature is required by the state constitution to adjourn at midnight tonight. At this time, conference committees are still working on overall agreements in the 10 budget areas. Let's go to the Capitol for this press event.
I was going to say good morning.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. I apologize. I'm a bit tired yet. Your brain gets stretched a long way. Your willpower gets stretched a long way to get over the finish line. But I'm happy with the work that we did for divided government. In the end, you don't get everything you want, but you try to make sure you get the things done that you need to get done. And it feels like that happened. And so now we still have a lot of work in front of us. This was just getting the targets so that the committees can work through it. We picked a few high-level things that we agreed to and some that we just wouldn't agree to. But in the end, the chairs are now working, and we're going to see if we can get this done and get done Thursday. Time will tell.
How confident are you? Time will tell. Doesn't sound like it's a sure thing.
I'm confident we're going to get done. The challenge is there's the biggest ones, Health and Human Services, is just a giant bill with so many different policy provisions, and even how we fund the whole bill is difficult. And so the chairs and the commissioner are working, and that's the one I just don't know about. The rest of them I think we can get done.
And you described what happens if the conference committees don't close up by 5 o'clock? What is the mechanism for setting up the working groups, and will those be public?
So if they're not done by 5 o'clock, some of the issues that did not get done get kicked up. That means the governor, myself, and the speaker and our teams will try to work through and see if we can get there. Just like coming together with the numbers, the policies is kind of the same thing. It's sometimes we're just a long ways apart, and eventually you just have to jump to the middle. And so that's not easy for people to do. Nobody likes to do it, but that's what has to happen.
Is that going to happen with nursing home cuts? Is that going to get kicked up to leadership, and should it?
No, I don't. We're very passionate about keeping the nursing home rates where they're at. They proposed that as a way to reduce spending. The commissioner has a perspective that we just don't share, and so that's one of the holdbacks. But time will tell. But we really think what I said is my chairs, Abler and Benson. I said if you can convince them, then we can have a conversation. But we'll see. But it's issues just like that. I mean, there's probably 100 of them that they're struggling with.
Are you still committed to getting the full $6 million of HAVA money through the end of this session?
Yes.
What response have you received from your caucus on the 1.8% provider tax?
Well, they weren't happy. I mean, that's that was the thing that I had to accept. In the end, both the governor, myself, and the speaker kind of looked at each other, and if we're not careful, we could lead us into a place that would be really bad for Minnesota. And so there's no gas tax, and the provider tax remains. And so it is 10% less than what it presently is, but it was a big deal, a big give for us that's ongoing. We wanted it to go away. We hope to structure it a little bit different so that there's the things that are paid out of it actually align with what it should be, meaning there's not going to. We don't want it to be used as a slush fund. Both sides have taken big chunks of money out of that, and that was one of our reasons we wanted it to go away. And so I think it'll be better than it was.
Given that dissent in your caucus on the provider tax, will you need to take Senate Minority Leader Bach up on his offer to help you count to 34 with his caucus to get the tax bill over the finish line?
Yeah, both Representative Hortman and myself will have that same issue. Each of us will have a group of legislators that just don't want to do what we decided to do. Those are the conversations that I'm having with all of my senators now. My hope is that we have enough people. And I also hope the way the bills look, I think most of the bills, both sides will have a number of people that vote for them. They're good bills. So.
As a Greater Minnesota legislator, how did Greater Minnesota do out of this?
I think fair. It wasn't the main lens I was looking through. I was just trying to look through what was best for Minnesota. So to be honest, I haven't even thought about that yet. The tax bill is yet to be determined. Two key provisions there. Well, one really, really big one that I highlighted was the middle class tax cut. I think both sides will take credit for that, and I'm fine with that. It's a win for Minnesota. So then we're working through a number of the other issues, county program aid, local government aid, working family credit. So there's other issues that we got to figure out, but we'll get there.
So is that the leaders are working through those, or is that the
That's the
committee?
chairs and the
Okay.
commissioner.
Senator, it doesn't appear that these committees are really all that transparent, at least today they have not been. We hear deals are being made on higher ed and other issues. At least the speaker yesterday said, this is going to now be all open, y'all get to watch. Is that happening?
In some places it's happening, in other places it's not. It's harder than you can imagine. But we try, yeah, you can imagine. You get goosebumps, but inside joke. Anyway, get a little rammy when you're tired and whatever, but we want to be as transparent as you can, and every time we say, what can we do to make it more transparent? I think Hortman in some ways led the way and actually said, let's do some of these deadlines earlier. That really did help us. I mean, we had the budget bills passed both sides, so we had a lot of chance to look at each other's information, and so even though we didn't get targets right away, we still moved the ball in some ways quicker, but then you come back to the very, very end when it's psychology. It's how do we get to the end, and how do you ask somebody to dare to give up something that somebody around them might say is terrible? And so that's the part that's so difficult. We thought if we set that deadline early and agreed that would get us to the point of setting the targets. We tried to make what we considered bold moves to get there on Tuesday night, but somehow we were sort of at the same place. So,
Senator, I was just talking to Senator Chamberlain out at the food trucks where most good intel comes from on nice days. He says it'd be very difficult to finish the tax bill by 5 o'clock today, and even more difficult to finish this whole thing by Thursday. Do you agree that is an ambitious schedule?
well, Thursday is ambitious, but not impossible. I'm kind of thinking about last year where it sort of felt like it was the same way. But like I said, the governor and the speaker and I have not talked about, where we're at. Does it look like we can do it Thursday? Point is, we want to wrap up all the bills and really have them done. And then there's the work of putting them together that still takes days and days and days. So I know we're close, and I'm glad we made a deal, and I'm glad we're going to be done before June. I hope it's Thursday.
How worried are you about springing your members for the weekend where they're going to go home and probably be badgered by their constituents about things they don't like in this deal?
That's part of the reason we wanted to get it done early. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. There are going to be people that are just not happy that you didn't do what they expected you to do. And that's the nature of divided government. Things collide and things have to go. And so, yeah, that is a concern. I think both sides would say that's a concern.
Have you discussed with Leader Doubt yet to get him in line with whatever you decide on for special session?
So I called the governor before I talked to the press and I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm tired. You got to give me a little break here. But I called the speaker before we talked to the... Did I get it right this time? No. Hey, why do you think I didn't do a walkthrough? I said, I'm not walking through them. Yeah, I called somebody who called a friend. I called Kurt Dowd before the press conference. I thought it was the proper place to have the conversation, and really his own person and the GOP House, they even though we align, they have an agenda that's not exactly the same as ours, and so I really said it's up to the speaker to get the votes in the House, just like it's my job in the Senate.
And how are you doing in the Senate? Is Minority Leader Bach on board with any rule suspension, putting up votes for a bonding bill? How are you two doing?
So Senator Bach and I have not talked about that specifically. We do have conversations. The bonding bill is always interesting. We have conversations seemingly right at the last hour. So we'll just have to see how that one plays out. But we have good communication in the Senate. I'll listen to him. We'll see where we go. But I think he wants to get done too.
Are you concerned not bringing minority leaders in to sign off on a deal was a mistake? Because that typically has been done in the past.
So that's why I circled back to, we both agreed to circle back to our so for me, to Kurt Dowd and for Hortman to Bach, just to talk about what we did. In some ways, it's a good sign that we were actually able to figure out how to do it without needing the extra votes in divided government. And so, I can't imagine, this is really the governor leading the way. I can't imagine that Bach would say, I'm not going to do that, but it's not any intention not to communicate with Bach. And there was it was very crazy at the end, and I apologized once, I'll apologize again, just trying to make everything happen and things flying everywhere and trying to make decisions. It was very, very difficult, and so, just trying to make sure we're communicating to everybody is I think I'll get better. I think I'm better than I was two years ago, and hopefully I'll get another shot at this. So
You said you'd kick some things upstairs. Do you expect that the conference committees would, and you're upstairs? Do you think that's going to happen right away, or just when they're trying to wrap things up? In other words, are you going to be meeting with Speaker and Governor now, like today?
We're feeling our way through this. They've never done it before. I've only done it once, and so we'll see.
Do you see anything big enough that it might derail this agreement?
I don't think so. We think it's too important for Minnesota that we get it done. So.
Has anybody done higher education, for example? Has it on the schedule?
I know it's wrapped up sometime. So that's a bill that I would love to get done before session ends, official session. So.
Egg bill too?
I'm not sure yet.
Senator, can you talk a little bit more about tax conformity? Do we know exactly what that means in this tax bill and how that's going to affect Minnesota taxpayers?
So there's not complete clarity there. But because we can conform to a lot, I think we agree to conform to provisions that would bring in about $800 million of money. And so the agreement that we made between the House, Senate, and Governor is that goes back out. In other words, it's not going to raise taxes. The tax bills the target is zero. They have some things that they would like, and we have some things that we think are important. In the end, that's where we'll have to get to.
Why was an income tax cut so important to you? It became perhaps your signature issue.
Well, we just felt like as the middle class was the one that seems to always be getting left out, and this was an attempt to make that statement that for the first time in I think a couple decades we actually lowered that tax bracket. The second thing about it is that was the big chunk of where we were conforming where the money was coming from those individuals, so we wanted to send it back to them in the form of a tax bracket reduction.
How difficult was it to give up the sunset provision on the health care provider tax?
Well, that was one of the most difficult thing, maybe the most difficult thing, because in 2011 that was the compromise to end the shutdown, was that this would sunset 8 years later, and then to bring it back and not have a sunset was that was a big loss for our side.
Did you need to do that in order to get rid of the transportation tax proposals? Was that the trade-off?
I can't tell you the deals. But obviously, it's not there, and so, you can infer whatever you want. But
on the tax bill, so with the zero target, if they want extra money like Governor Walz does on local government aid, they're going to have to give something up.
I think both sides do. That's the nature of what we're doing.
Is there a deal on the Historical Society budget?
I haven't talked to anybody working on it yet, so I know what you're talking about, I just don't know.
Senator, do you think opioids response bill will get done today? I know they're meeting again shortly.
I sure hope it gets done. Really, Senator Rosen needs to talk about that, but we've given a long way on that one. It needs to get done. It's like HAVA. There shouldn't be any reason not to do it.
Are bills like that ones that could come up in special session? Would you folks agree to that?
Yeah, I would.
A lot of times in the past, or maybe most of the time in recent years, all four leaders have had to sign off on an agenda, and you promise you don't go beyond there. Can that happen this year since the minority leaders have not been involved?
I don't know. I will only, my job will be to work for the Senate and what we can do and communicate, but typically that tradition is there for a reason. Nobody wants the special session to be more than what it's supposed to be, so that'll be my commitment.
So you would include nursing home, how difficult will the nursing home cuts the House Republican caucus is still upset about where that stands.
We've not agreed to nursing home cuts, and my plan is at the end of the day, there are no nursing home cuts. That's a big one for us. We just feel like we adjusted those reimbursement rates just a couple years ago. We have a large aging population that's going to be needing long-term care. We want to make sure that they're in a good spot, and so we'll fight for that one. We think that one's really important.
For as much as you guys were cheering yourselves last night, there are been at least a dozen items here where you say, I don't know, still to be worked out. You're far from out of the woods, aren't you?
No, most of these are going to be worked out within the conference committees, and typically at this state, I mean, 2 years ago, I think 100 things came up that we had to make a decision on. I'm doing those right now. But no, right now I'm here for you.
On the bonding, you do need a supermajority, though.
Yes.
Those are TO bonds.
That's correct.
How optimistic are you that there'll be a bonding bill?
Well, the Senate, I'm pretty sure, will have a bonding bill, and I think the House will too. On the bonding bill, my hope is that we focus on higher ed, wastewater infrastructure, roads and bridges, just major bread and butter issues. It's pretty hard to say no to those. We think that, but I can't speak for the House.
Senator Gazelka, it doesn't look as though the Public Safety Judiciary Committee is actually scheduled to meet even to the call of the chair. Are you concerned that they are frozen in place and may not make deadline here?
Really, it's all the policy, and when you're running out of time, that's the stuff that often gets jettisoned. I have not talked to the chair on our side yet today.
He told me that he's not going to move until they've got the firm budget agreements between both chairs, and I don't know where it's at right now.
Okay, I'll follow up. No. All right, well, thank you so much. So we'll stay tuned.